Hello, today we are going to learn about series circuits. I have a series circuit drawn for you. It has a total voltage of 24 volts and it has three resistors, one that is 10 ohms, one that is 8 ohms, and one that is 6 ohms. I'm going to label my 10 ohm one R1, my 8 ohm R2, and my 6 ohm R3. I'm just doing that so we can keep them in order. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is figure out my total resistance. Now to figure out total resistance in a series circuit, you're just going to add them all up. I want you to picture an obstacle course. Every time you add a obstacle to the course, it gets harder. Well, the same thing happens with resistance. Every time we add a resistor, the total resistance becomes greater. So the rule to do that is R equivalent is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. So we're going to take our REQ and we're going to have it equal to 10 ohms plus 8 ohms plus 6 ohms. So REQ, or our equivalent, will be 24 ohms of resistance. Now the next thing we're going to do is figure out the total current. So we're going to figure out what this ammeter would read. Now because this is a series circuit, the current is going to stay the same everywhere because it is one path. So the current can't go anywhere else. So once we find the current, it's the same everywhere. Now in order to figure that out, we're going to use Ohm's law, which is V equals IR. And we're going to use our total voltage that we have of 24 volts. And we have our equivalent resistance of 24 ohms. So my current ends up being 1 amp. So we were able to determine that our current everywhere is going to be 1 amp. There's an actual rule for that, and it is I equals I1, which equals I2, which equals I3, and so on. It would keep going. After we have our current, and I know my total resistance, I'm going to figure out the voltage across each resistor. So it would be like if I took a voltmeter and I put it right around this first resistor, I would be able to find out the voltage across that. Well, I'm going to do that to all three of them. So I'm going to set up my Ohm's law 3 times, and I'm going to have V1 equals I1 times R1, V2 equals I2 R2, and V3 equals I3 R3. So to find V1, I know that my total current is going to be the same everywhere. So at I1, I know my current is 1 amp, and I know the resistance at R1 is 10 ohms. So V1 equals 10 volts. So now I'm going to set up V2. Current is still 1 amp, but this resistor is 8 ohms. So my voltage here is going to be 8 volts. And then my last one, V3, my current is 1 amp and my resistance is 6 ohms. So my V3 is 6 volts. Now what I want you to do is notice something pretty neat. If you add up all of your voltages, so I take V1 plus V2 plus V3, you should notice something neat when you add it up. We got 10 volts plus 8 volts plus 6 volts is equal to 24 volts. Look at what I started with, 24 volts. So you can check to see if you did it right, because this should end up being equal to your voltage that you started with, or V total. Which brings me to my last rule. V equals V1 plus V2 plus V3, and so on. I have all of my rules written down here for you. Series, circuit, and then current is the same everywhere in the circuit. And then I have some rules for you to write down. And I have a bunch of the names that they call our total, just so you don't get tricked by any of them. My last slide is some unusual information about current. If you wish, take a moment and read those. And then I put the problems that will be assigned tonight. Thank you very much. Have a good day.